with that said, let's jump into the April monthly report. It's something I'm a little late on. I haven't read it just yet on the stream. So let's do it now. Why not? Right. At the same time, I'm working out the answer to the call things. But first thing is AI content. I don't know if I should zoom in a little bit more, maybe. How's that? That's a little bit bigger and more readable, right? So AI content, they spent a part of April working on the eat and drink and leisure activities. We saw that with the whatchamacallit, the guy banging on the soda machine, right? They'll locate a substance dispenser. Again, this all just looks like AI for Squadron 42 background NPCs. Nothing crazy here. Nothing that will change the game for any of us unless we actually get those interactions as well. They also began to work on new commuter activity. This might actually matter. Controls the aspects of character's behavior when using public transport, including choosing a destination, waiting for transport to arrive, entering and passing time. Maybe, because there are... Okay, yeah, this is actually game relevant, right? So team also began to work on the commuter activity. There were missions on the roadmap that were passenger missions. Remember that? I do. I was very excited for them. And this may have something to do with that. It may not, but it could. Yeah, Genesis Starliner, anybody? We had an animator design work together to create a narrative previs video explaining how they envision it working. Next step is to itemize and task to begin prototyping. We hope this will add lifelike transfer and traffic to our transport hubs. So again, it might just be NPCs getting on the trains that you get on. Or it could lead into NPC transport missions. It could. Throughout April, AI Tech finalized their work on Alpha 3.17, which involved investigating fixing several AI-related bugs. Okay. They also adjusted AI behaviors and code to allow ships to correctly quantum travel out of planetary atmospheres. We're getting there. We're getting there. Like, one of the major things that makes the game feel as dead as it does is that there's no AI flying in and out of cities. It doesn't feel alive and bustling. That would be something that would make the game feel better. I don't necessarily think it would make the game play that much better, but it would certainly make it feel better. Because, again, the NPCs are definitely dependent on how fast the server's running, and if the server's still running slow, which it does, interacting with them is still going to be painful. For the navigation system, the team added the ability to notify listeners when navigating meshes are spawned and created within the environment. Due to a large number of entities, they're aiming to reduce the number of applications for notification events and possibly introduce a better way to filter the entities. All right, so this is their navigation system, but it creates too much entities, which we all know is a problem. They continue tasks that will allow NPCs to interact correctly with movable entities like trolleys. Okay. They also made it easier to drag a link from one node to another. That's just kind of game dev stuff. Finally, for AI Tech, they completed the engineering phase for dynamic conversation functionality, adding ways to allow the designers to mark up which conversation topics are allowed in different locations. For example, in Lorville, NPCs can talk about working at the factory, which is only relevant to that city. Oh, that's kind of cool. AI Vehicle. They fixed bugs for Friday release for 3.17 and Invictus launch week. Okay. They also began to work on Flight AI debug tool, and the vSpawn AI command was updated. All right. Lastly, they're currently allowing enabling tests via editor windows. Great. Animations. They released their vendor work for the PU. They also began leisure stuff. Facial animations were done for outlaws, vendors, bartenders. Okay. For weapons and gadgets, blockout animations were created for handheld gadgets and explosives and began to work on a new SMG. Handheld gadgets. So this is a big deal. Remember the old Star Marine videos? Handheld shields, things like that? Those are handheld gadgets. I don't know what exactly handheld gadgets they're talking about here, but that could be fun. That can lead to some fun for sure. Previous work was also done for how a weighed down player should feel and patrons drinking at bars and tables. Weighed down players. We have a loot system. Now we have a possibility of a system that decides how much we can loot. You seem more positive about Star Citizen at the moment. Yes, because they're actually developing things that I am excited about. The things that I always had issues about Star Citizen, guys, is the priorities. I feel that the priorities are where I always wanted them to be, just 2 or 3 years later. So I don't have a lot to complain about anymore. I just have to wait for the things that they're actively working on to make it in-game. And then I'll complain about them being buggy as shit and not as fun. So, yeah, I don't have anything to complain about yet. Art characters. Character art continue to work on Frontier clothing for Pyro. Who cares? Because it's Pyro, and I still don't think we'll see it other than a Squadron 42 demo. There have been some hints at what Ninetales gang stuff looks like. I've seen it on Twitter. It looks crazy. Good, but it also looks like some concept art that we've seen recently. Salvage Theme Backpack is currently being worked on by Tech Art, which, while concept art is progressing for a collection of fashionable outfits in Stanton. I'm still waiting for the Salvage Theme Backpack. I feel like it's just going to be a vacuum cleaner backpack. You ever see the vacuum cleaner backpacks, like for people that like clean up big industrial places? That's just how I see it. Ship art, Scorpius. We all know that sale's coming in 317.1. Bane of Merchantment stuff. I imagine we'll see that in a sprint report on ISC. 4 unannounced vehicles were further developed through the month. Wonder what those 4 are. I wonder if we'll see any of them at Invictus. I imagine we will. Corsair Focus. I mean, this has basically been the monthly report for the last 4 months, right? Is basically those ships. So, art weapons. Dedicate time to improving the stow and stock helper setup. I wonder if that is what that is. I don't know. This is just art, so this isn't actually gameplay related. I thought it was maybe issues with, you know, how our stuff gets stuck in the holster or stuck in our hands. But this is just art. Similar pass one is scopes, which will give weapons feature team greater control and the ability to tweak aim down sight positions. Okay. On the art side, they continue to work through banner ship weapons. Animation completed the first pass on many of the new FPS gadgets. What are these gadgets? I want to hear more. I want to see more. I want a dedicated ISC to gadgets. I guess it started with the mining gadget, and I don't know where it goes from here. Maybe we'll have to see. Community, I always skip because it's just the sales stuff. Engine stuff, I usually skip because I don't know what they're talking about, but I will briefly look over it. Physics teams work on spinning batch grid cleanup. Furthermore, unnecessary computations were removed. Gen 12 Register transition continued as it has for the last year or two. On the core engine, a potential deadlock in the exception handler was fixed. There are many more deadlocks, just so you know. At least one that I get consistently in inventory. Let's fix that one. I'm looking forward to that monthly report. Features, characters, and weapons throughout inventory pass. We still need more inventory passes. This involved adjusting underlying inventory logic and flow to work with the new persistence tech, which is causing all the problems that we're having now, I think. Once complete, they move back to the fire extinguisher. This is the thing, right? This is the stuff. Is you got people working on inventory issues, and once they finish with those issues, instead of store all button, potentially, no, fire extinguisher. Yeah, let's go with the fire extinguisher, guys. It's an interesting challenge. It's quite a different profile compared to other weaponry. It has a bulky cylinder that holds liquid or gas, which can spray continuously. This gadget is going to be important in combating interior fires on spaceships or stopping them draining the life-critical oxygen supply. We're working closely with the VFX team to connect with the logic fire hazard system, as well as bring the weapon to life visually. Again, it's May, right? June, July, August, September, November, October. We are 6 months away. Possibly in November, CitizenCon is. So 5 to 6 months away from a CitizenCon. Guarantee this is not for us yet. This is for a CitizenCon demo of fire propagation. Just calling it now. They're prioritizing CitizenCon. They are not prioritizing the game. And the features that are in it currently. Does October come after November? October, November, December. Nope. I'm stupid. Wow. This is going up on YouTube as well. I don't know how I get out of bed in the morning. Or make money, or feed myself, and clothe myself. I'm sorry, guys. I definitely mixed up the months. Yep. It happened. We're going to ignore it. Nobody saw it. Nobody heard it. We're not going to talk about it from this point forward, all right? Gameplay features. The PUT, we're going to talk about gameplay features, okay? Stop it. Yeah, do I put my shoes on first and then the pants? I don't know. PU team began the month supporting the release of refueling. Yeah, we saw that. Significant progress was made on ship salvage. All right. With improved HUD being created for Drake Vulture salvage mode. All right. They also added additional aiming functionality tailored to unique set of the ship arms. Okay. Because again, that's not, again, so this is concerning. This is concerning, I should say. They also added additional aiming functionality tailored to the ship's unique setup of the ship arms. It's going to be a mining laser. It's going to be a laser. It's not going to be what was in the concept, which was salvage going through those beams that were going across the arms and breaking them down. If anything, there should be tractor beams that you pull through there, but yeah, it's clear that's not going to happen. Maybe that's a future version of salvage. I don't know. Work for the UI's life support and engineering gameplay progress. So this is where, you know, the features gameplay section is super short, but the things that they're working on are things that I've always wanted to see, that I think improve the game. Engineering gameplay, get salvage out of the way. I don't think it's that the way they're doing it now is even salvage. But yeah, this is also interesting. That's a reclaimer with a laser beam salvaging an 890 jump. That is a reclaimer salvaging an 890 jump. I repeat. Crazy. Vehicle features. They started a month technically on the Hull A. We already know. We have the Hull A. Testing further gameplay. Updates to Master Modes and QT Boost. Okay. They also plan to support refueling feature. Time is also spent investigating AI desync issue. All right. Work was also done on quality of life improvements, tuning across the games, including for racing chips. Yeah, we saw that. The M50 is like way better in atmosphere now. Graphics and VFX programming. I'm assuming anything they talked about here was on SCL this week. Lighting, usually skip that. Locations. All right. Main push for locations is Invictus launch week. Elsewhere, work is almost complete on several small locations. SaltEMike team is planning on releasing an upcoming patch. The areas themselves are finished and are currently awaiting distribution pass across Stanton. Let me tell you something. If they are anything like the derelict ships, not just ships, only the derelict caterpillars, I am very excited for what the Sandbox team is doing. If it's the same team that I'm thinking of. If this EU Sandbox team, never mind. I take it back. I don't know what the EU Sandbox team does. I don't care. Whatever the EU Sandbox team does needs to do what Montreal is doing. Okay? You need to go to Montreal. You need to look at what they're doing. You need to literally copy their work and do that. Because Montreal team comes in and literally makes better content than anybody has made content in Star Citizen for 10 years. Okay? They took one ship, made it a puzzle, and it's more interesting than anything I've played in Star Citizen to date. Whatever you're doing, stop it and do what Montreal's doing. Okay? Everybody at CIG, stop what you're doing and be more like Montreal. Thank you. Pre-production continues on new space-based points of interest. All right, yeah, so we saw that stuff on ISC. Locations, Montreal. Here we go. Montreal teams are approaching the latest development phases of both Reclaimer derelict settlements and Reclaimer space-based points of interest. So this is one for PC 101 in chat who said he wants more space derelicts like the ones that we have on the moons. Very cool. For derelict settlement, the art team is currently polishing the carcass of the Reclaimer and the Habs, while design team is implementing location missions. Very cool. Space-based points of interest progressed through the gray box phase. Last month's work included the design team implementing and tweaking missions. The art team also began an art pass on narratively support in the in-mission themes. Okay. Finally, further progress was made on ongoing Lorville Cityscape. I can't wait to see that. I cannot wait to see what they do with Lorville. Lorville is one of my favorite looking cities, but it's the only one that doesn't really look like a city yet. Just the feel of Lorville I like, and I am looking forward to seeing what it might look like. Narrative team I always skip. QA, always skip. Tools, Mighty Bridge, we saw that on ISC this week. Tech animation, continued. New face rigs, okay. Feature animations, I usually skip that. Turbulent. Online service team begin work on new login flow refactor. I think we're kind of seeing that. Sometimes I get kicked out of the game into a login queue, which has been interesting. Maybe that has something to do with this. But the team has now integrated testing on all respective services together, including rental, entitlement, and login. Significant progress was also made on the new Entity Graph service. Entity Graph is very, very big. Read narrative, there's something interesting. Okay, I'll go back. Oh, dynamic events, maybe? Narrative continues to support on ongoing work on future dynamic event missions and discuss how best to incorporate new upcoming gameplay module into one particular mission's flow. They also met with the Montreal team to discuss the details of several new missions. Okay. We'll have to see. Interesting. But going back to Turbulent, big entity graph thing. Anytime you see entity graph, that's a big deal. That's persistence, essentially. Live Tools team released a version of Hex. Okay. Web team, Invictus. Cool. UI. Fixing critical bugs with ASAP terminals. There's still bugs, lots of them, and the ASAP terminals, like, I don't know, the person yelling at me and talking to me constantly. Can we stop that? It's super annoying. Work progressed on the new star map and radar UI. We need to see more of this. I am so looking forward to an ISC dedicated to the star map. If anybody saw the Zero State tweet, maybe I'll overlay it over the video if it ends up on YouTube, is absolutely hilarious. It's like, I love everything about Star Citizen, but the star map is there and it says not you. It's so good. Although rough around the edges, the groundwork is there for us to add functionality and start improving the visuals. Devs, I'll read here because this actually looks big. I skipped over this for a second. Devs implemented basic controls, enabling them to look around a solar system, view the planets, orbits, and vehicles within it. They also began adding an info panel that players can use to see details about selected objects. So these are things that are not only needed now, but future-proofing things for the future. So what, like, think Tony Z stuff, right? You click on Daymar. What's going on there? Is there a lot of pirate activity? If there's a lot of pirate activity, maybe there's going to be a lot of salvage wrecks. If there's a lot of pirate activity, we could do a lot of bounties there. If there's not a lot of pirate activity, maybe purchasing things will be cheaper there, and you'll go and sell stuff at places where there's more pirate activity, things like that, right? So there's a lot of functionality that the star map is going to need, and this is definitely future-proofing for that, so that's kind of exciting. The Visor and Les conversation, we've talked about that on the last monthly report, I think, is a big one. We need improvements to that big time, and we'll have to see what happens there. The UI tech team continued developing additional building block features. Replace canvas slicing, blah, 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 new card system. AR markers, we've known they've been working on that too. And VFX, I usually skip as well because I don't know what's going on with that. Unless I see something related to gameplay, I usually skip over it. I mean, hull stripping is there. Vehicle hull stripping is a big one. So we saw the handheld hull stripping. Now maybe we'll see vehicle hull stripping from them since it was some work they did. All right. That was the monthly report. And if you guys are watching on Twitch, we're going to do Answer the Call right now. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, go check out Answer the Call. I'm SaltEMike. Do that right now.